Hi, everyone, and welcome. I hope you're enjoying the Tech Summit so far and finding the conversations insightful. I'm Robin, I'm the Engagement and Outreach Officer at Know More, and I'd like to welcome you to a very special interview with Jane Randel, who is the co-founder of Know More and the chair of our board. She's also a social impact advisor and co-founder of Randel, which is a consultancy dedicated to helping organizations and individuals reaching their goals while making a meaningful impact on society. Today, we'll be talking about Know More's mission, the significance of a summit dedicated to tech-facilitated abuse, and we'll discuss some of the recent developments in the sector. Jane, firstly, as a co-founder and chair of Know More, you know the organization better than anyone. What do you consider Know More's greatest strength?
Well, first of all, I'm excited to be here and I'm excited that you're interviewing me, Robin. And I'm thrilled that we're having this conversation, not just you and me, but all around tech abuse. I think there are a few things that make Know More really, really strong. One is that we're global and that we deal with both domestic and sexual violence. There are few, if any, other organizations that deal globally with those issues. I also think that puts us in a position to coalesce and bring people together in a way perhaps that is more difficult for others who are, big national organizations, but in their own country, very important in their own country. But the ability of Know More to bring together people from around the world, as we're seeing today, is really one of its biggest strengths.
Thank you. And Know More was established more than a decade ago. It always has a strong focus on building networks and nourishing partnerships, but the world has also changed a lot in the last 10 years. How do you think that Know More's work and the organization has evolved over those years?
Well, just the fact that we're international. I mean, I've said this so many times, people are probably really bored of hearing it, but when we first started, we didn't know what Know More could or would be. We just knew that the issue of domestic and sexual violence needed a brand, needed to be brought together under a symbol, a roof, something. So the fact that we were able to do that, and the fact that this symbol, this Know More, this whole idea is something that could be brought to other countries, is really how it is really the biggest difference in terms of where Know More was to where it is. And that sounds simple, but if I think about the global directory that we offer and the fact that there are so many countries, I want to say 200, but I think it's less than that. But many countries, there are about 2,000 entries, I believe, in the global directory, which means almost anywhere in the world, if you need help, you can find it using our global directory. That is a huge change for the organization, but also for the field. And it's been amazing to watch. It's a very interesting thing as a founder to watch somebody, which is Pamela Zabala, our CEO, plus the entire team that work with her, really have a vision for what something can be, and take it there and be able to stay along for the ride and not get in the way and hopefully help a little bit. So I think that watching Know More really flourish has been it's been unbelievable, frankly.
Yeah. And talking a bit about changes in the last few weeks, we're filming this in mid-February. We've seen a lot of changes. We've seen tech companies adjusting their policies around moderation, a new administration that's announcing big changes in terms of gender policies and funding. How do you view these developments, and how do you think it will impact the sector and victim survivors?
It's very distressing. I was just away with some people that I work with, along with the NFL, and talking a lot about the impact on the field. And the field is global at this point. Women around the world, certainly women in our country, and men, anybody anybody who's facing uh, an issue that is not considered mainstream, for lack of a better word, is potentially suffering. So whether it's LGBTQ or people who are unhoused, I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, there's just, everybody has, this is the world right now is in such flux, and the lack of funding has such an impact on people who need help. I mean, they're talking about, in the US, you have something called Head Start, which is early child care. You have SNAP, which are food benefits. And if all of those programs get cut, even if the local shelter doesn't get its funds cut, let's just say, those are programs that they might refer victims to, and now they can't. And so there is a huge trickle down through all of this, and it is hard to keep up with the pace. I will put it out here today. I think the word of the year is going to be whiplash, because we are just looking in this direction and looking in this direction and looking in this direction, and it's distracting and distressing, and very hard to watch. And I am, along with Pamela and others, trying to figure out how No More can be of service.
Yeah, I share your concerns, and yeah, I think it's going so quickly, changes, and yeah,
Yes.
everyone is figuring out how
And
to.
backwards, it's changing backwards.
Yeah.
Do you ever drive and you're using the GPS, and my sister and I joke that time moves backwards, because like first you're an hour away and then something happens and now you're an hour and 20 minutes away, and so time's going backwards. Well, that's what it feels like, right? Time is moving backwards for us. Progress is moving backwards.
Yeah. Um, to end on a bit more of a hopeful note, I'd also like to ask you what some of the positive changes have been that you've seen over the last few years or few months that make you hopeful for the future.
Sure.
And yeah.
I think the fact that there is broad outrage about what's happening. It's not just a group of women who work in the field or a field. I think the ability to have conversations about these issues in all kinds of forums is very positive, even if it's not necessarily where we want it to be. When I first started this work, before No More and many other people started a long time ago, you never would have seen, a conversation about domestic or sexual violence happening on television. It feels like people are becoming more responsible in their discussions about it. I think, and I hope, people will hold each other accountable online as things get less moderated, we'll say, with on social media channels. I can only hope that people stand up for each other and hold each other accountable, and that the love and the acceptance and the tolerance outweighs the hate. And that's sort of where we are right now. It is very hard to hate what you know, so it's important to be open to learning new things and meeting new people.
Yeah, that's beautifully said, I think. Jane, I'd like to thank you for sharing your insights and for having this conversation. And everyone who's watching, thank you for joining, and enjoy the rest of the Tech Summit.
Thank you. Thank you, Robin. You did a great job. Thanks, everybody.